Now just pretend that I am your average elementary school teacher. So class, right now we are going to start by reviewing the different types of punctuation. Okay, let's start with this one. Yeah?
Period.
Period, yes. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Who knows what this one is? Yeah, Daniel?
Comma.
Comma? Okay, you're good. Whoa. Okay, what's this one? Yeah?
Question mark.
Question mark. This one? Yeah, Diana?
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. Okay. And last but not least, does anyone know what this is? Yes?
Semicolon.
Yes. The semicolon.
Yes.
Now, some of you may know how to use the semicolon. Some of you may not. Many of us know of the semicolon but have no idea how to use it, or just simply find it too confusing and try to avoid it. Let's see what Google tells us about the semicolon. So Google tells us that the semicolon is a punctuation mark indicating a pause typically between two main clauses that is more pronounced than that indicated by a comma. Now you're probably wondering, okay, so semicolon, so what? So, hi everyone, my name is Julianna and I am a semicolon activist. And now you are probably wondering, okay Julianna, why in the world are you a semicolon activist out of all things? Once again, so what? Well, let's think back to the guessing game we played at the start of this talk. The truth is, I myself only learned about the semicolon in junior high, and even then, we didn't learn much about it. We just learned that it was there, and if we really wanted to go out of our way to use it, then sure. And I'm pretty sure that this is the case for many students around the globe today. So right now, I am going to be the teacher for a second, and I'm going to give everyone here a lesson on the semicolon. Okay, this guy on the board right now, Abraham Lincoln. He is known to many of us as the 16th US president, or perhaps as the first assassinated president, or perhaps as the dude that ended slavery in America. And I know him as the guy that popularized semicolons. During the 19th century, Abraham Lincoln started a trend of using the semicolon. He started using the semicolon so much in his writing, and it became so popular to the point that it started to attract its own haters. We had other grammarians saying, hey guys, colons were once very fashionable, so stop using the semicolon and let's go back to using colons. Now, despite the Abraham Lincoln using the semicolon so much in his writing, other people still found reasons to criticize it so much, and for the most absurd reasons. One of the most famous critics of the semicolon would be Kurt Vonnegut. And in his famous book, A Man Without a Country, he describes semicolons as transvestite hermaphrodites representing absolutely nothing. But why were people insulting the semicolon in the first place? What did this punctuation tool do to us? So let's go back, once again, to the Google definition of the semicolon. Semicolons are the shades of gray between a period and a comma. They join two sentences together to create one. But many people thought that these pauses between the two independent clauses were hesitancies, and that these hesitancies were to be seen as delicacies. And therefore people thought, because, well, the semicolon is so delicate, it should just be made for women to use. Or people even thought that the semicolon itself was quote-unquote girly. Yes, you heard me right. Apparently, writers and pundits such as James J. Kilpatrick believed that the semicolon was bashful, gutless, girly, and therefore useless. But why were people insulting it like this in the first place? Now, obviously this is all ridiculous, but even if the semicolon, a punctuation tool, was considered feminine, so what? Now, even if a man who is expected, supposedly, to be innately masculine was considered feminine, so what? So, the truth is, in the world that we live in today, many men are being held to the traditional expectation to never show emotion, to always assert dominance, to be self-sufficient, independent, and strong, because qualities such as being emotional, being submissive, being dependent, and being weak were all seen as qualities of a woman. And it is because of this that we also have Chinese sayings such as 男儿有泪不轻弹, which roughly translates to, even if a man has tears, even if a man has emotions, he should not show it, and that he should hold it in. Now, let's think about it. The truth is, in the world we live in today, many men are being held down to this. And I know for a fact that this saying does not purely exist in Chinese culture. That all of these traditional toxic masculine values are correct. They start being aggressive and controlling because there's no way that they will ever show that they are weak. They begin to suppress their emotions, but also suppress their ability to empathize with others, because there is no way at all that they will ever show that they are being emotional. They begin to isolate themselves from others, because there is no way that they will ever show that they are dependent. And it is because of these toxic values, once again, what do we see? The impact of it? We see that aggression leads to early signs of bullying in boys, and in men, it could send them to jail or prison. We see that lack of empathy leads to low mental health in boys, and for men, it could lead to substance abuse. We see that isolation from others leads to lack of genuine connections in boys and difficulty in the workplace for men. These are all part of the society that we live in today. And today, because that this exact mindset was taught and passed down generation by generation, that it is drilled into their minds today. Now, what do we usually do if we break an arm? Probably see the doctor, right? But when these boys and when these men are being taught that they have to be strong, they can't depend on anyone else, they don't depend on anyone else. They try to battle this pain on their own. And once again, it's this concept that's being passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation, that toxic masculinity is so prominent in our culture today. But this does not have to be this case, right? This ripple effect of toxic masculinity being spread around does not have to be the case. Right now, today, I am standing in front of you, speaking up about toxic masculinity. If every one of us are able to do the exact same, if every one of us are able to speak up against toxic masculinity as well, then we are able to create a positive ripple effect of our own. And we are able to break the stigma and battle toxic masculinity. So everyone, today, I am not standing in front of you as merely a semicolon activist. I am also standing in front of you as an activist for all victims of toxic masculinity. And after this talk, I hope that I have not only persuaded you to become a semicolon activist, but also I hope that I have convinced you to become someone who would speak up against toxic masculinity. Thank you.